They plotted against him, that they might entrap him. Bring out the trap that they've set for him. These wise and scholarly people trying to trap Jesus. And here it is, the basic question. Is it lawful? Should you pay a tax to Rome? Yes or no? If he says, yes, pay your taxes to Rome, the people who've been following him, who despise Rome because they are a force that has been putting their thumb on them, well, they'll stop listening to Jesus. Today's world, his poll numbers will go down. If he says no, well, then they can turn him over to the Romans and say, look, he's insurrecting, he doesn't want to pay the taxes, and he's talking bad against you, and then the Romans will crucify him. What a perfect trap. He can't answer. But listen to his answer. Whose image is on here? Well, Caesar's. Then give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. And give to God what is God's. And another way that he says it in other places in the gospel, don't work for treasures here on earth. Work for treasures in heaven. This isn't about treasures here on earth, or earthly domain, or earthly kingdoms. But our life really needs to be about a treasure in heaven, building up God's kingdom. And what other obstacles that earth wants to put in force from us, we're not going to be worried about it. We'll do it, but we're not going to worry about it because our treasures are in heaven. Do you see the trap that's set for you as you prepare to vote? As we go through this election cycle, do you see the trap that is set for you? Are you Catholic if you vote a Democrat? Are you Catholic if you vote Republican? And there's arguments both ways. But it's a trap. Just like Jesus' trap. You can't answer it correctly. But as Jesus puts it, he gives us, it's not a yes or no. The true answer is, I want my treasures in heaven, not here on earth. I trust in God, not in a politician. My glory is in God, not in a politician. That's the answer. But the trap they want you to say is, well, but you're going to go into the voters' booth and you have to vote for one of them. Who are you going to vote for? Are you Catholic or not? Did you see the trap? And here's your way out of the trap. It's to be a faithful Catholic year-round and not just at times that it is being time to vote. To live out our Christianity. To love our neighbors, to love our enemies. To love our God. And to place our treasures in heaven, not here on earth. Let us stand up in the preeminent discussion in today's world. Is the right to life a right to be able to be born? The safety of a child in his mother's womb should be the safest place. But unfortunately, in today's world, it's not. But let us live out our Christian faith and stand up for that, and then also to help those young ladies who are in that crisis pregnancy. There's many ways to do that. There's health clinics that will help and counsel these women in crisis. Intervisions is one of them. And then there's Ruth Harbor House on 42nd Street here in Des Moines, who will bring in these women in this crisis pregnancy and help them through that and give them some life lessons so that they can be able to support their family, their child, and themselves. Let us be Christians. Yes, there's plenty of other issues going on in the world. Yes, there is hunger, there's hungry, there's unemployment, people are starving. Right over here on Hubble, Catholic Charities runs a food bank. Feed the hungry. Catholic Charities also supports the family shelter on 7th Street. The only place in town where a whole family, a mom, dad, and their children can go and be safe, have shelter. Volunteer there. Help provide for them. Be a Christian. Not just when you're in the voters' booth, but all the time. Be involved. If you want to be really, truly involved in the political process, be involved in the political process every day. And to be honest with your politicians. Whichever party you follow, I know we have Democrats and Republicans here in these pews. To be honest with your party and tell them where they're going wrong. To be able to talk to Mr. Biden. He wants your vote. Mr. Biden, I like some of your policies. I kind of like this one and that one. But here's a couple of them that I really don't like. The preeminent issue of abortion and the right to life for these children. Can we do something so that there are no abortions? And Mr. Biden, please, let the little sisters of the poor alone. Don't pick on them. Let them live out their faith. And there's Mr. Trump, to be able to talk to him. He also wants your vote. Mr. Trump, I like your issues. I like your policy here. I like your policy there. You're doing great here and there. But Mr. Trump, could you do what my mom taught me? Think before you tweet. Oh, Mr. Trump, you know, there are some issues that really do need to be resolved and that you're kind of in the way of. As a Catholic, I love my neighbors to the south. I love all of my neighbors. Let's work to see how we can love them even more. Issues that we need to be able to bring to our politicians. To be able to see that none of them, neither party follows the Catholic social teachings to the full. And it's a trap. It's a trap when people say you're not a good Catholic if you vote that way. Be a Christian day in and day out. Your Savior is not a politician. Your Savior is Jesus Christ. put our treasures in heaven, not here on earth. As Jesus says, why are you testing me, you hypocrites? I don't care what party you follow, but trust me, the Republicans are hypocrites. The Democrats are hypocrites. And once you figure that out and you start to hear the lies that you've been listening to from your party, you start to stand back and say, I just need to live my Christian life. And let them know where I disagree with them. That's the hard part. In today's world, you're either Democrat or you're Republican, you're conservative or liberal. Let's not worry about those labels. Let's worry about being Christians and placing our treasure in heaven. There are consequences to our voting. There's also consequences to not talking to our politicians and saying, hey, the ideology of that political party is off just a little bit. Can we fix it? Now I say this, and I forgot to mention at the very beginning of all this, please go to the USCCB website. That's the bishop's website for the whole nation. They have some beautiful things that they've said about the election and the issues that truly are there. Read it. Form your conscience. We gave parts of that out a couple of weeks ago in the bulletin. Form your conscience. Don't follow the ideologies of a political party. Follow Christ. That's the main message here. To follow Christ. To place our treasures in heaven. Not here on earth. Washington, D.C. will not solve our problems. The State House will not solve our problems. Us, living out our Christianity, will solve our problems. Let us place our treasures in heaven. Let us work towards the beauty and glory of God. All for the greater glory of God. When we have our mindset on that, then that's when we have the answer that Jesus gives in the gospel today. Let's not place our anxiety here on earth, but let us place our hope and our faith in Jesus Christ, whom we follow.